Hi everyone. Today in this video we are going to discuss one of the very important topic in Python, which is functional programming. And you can see here, this is the topic that we are going to discuss, and what are the functional programming and what is the characteristics of functional programming that we can see. We'll be trying to understand over in this video. Okay, let's understand what is functional programming. So far, from our previous video, we learned about the functions, what is the function and what are the different type of function we can have, different type of arguments, keyword based argument, positional argument, those things we have already seen, right? So in this video, we are going to understand what is the functional programming and how it is useful in Python whenever you are going to write some program. So here you can see, right, just try to understand one thing, that in Python, the functional programming is nothing but when we can see the functions is treated as first class variable. Okay, functional is treated as, let's say we are working with a class in a function, and there we the variables that we create, right? So those are nothing but are my first class variables, right? First class variables. So those first class variables, similarly, the functions we write in the programming, Python programming, those are also created as first class variables, right? What do I mean by that? You will be just get to know. First of all, get to understand that function are also created as first class variable in Python, right? Now, here are the couple of, you can see couple of behaviors that we observe for functional programming. First of all, you can see functions, that whatever the function we write in Python, right, we can assign them to a particular variable. Okay, so what that does mean, I have writing a function. Let's say I have written a function called def, and I can say, let's say any name I am giving, let's say display, right? So I'm creating a function called def display, and I'm saying, let's say this is my function, and I'm printing something over here, right? So this is my simplest function, and let's say hello, right? So this is my function, and if I want, I can assign this function to a particular variable, right? So let's say I'm taking a variable called if, and if I say, if I want to assign this particular function to this particular variable, and I can say if is equal to, I can say display. So this is nothing but how we can assign a function to a particular variable. In Python, we can assign any functions to a particular variable. So this is something is we are talking about in the first point. Function can be assigned to a variable and then call using the variable. Means after that, whenever you are going to call this particular function, this display function, you do not need to call display. You can call with the reference variable that we have created for this particular variable, for this particular function. Let's see, I want to now call this particular function. So let's see, I am calling print, and if I say if, then if I say if, then only by just saying that if, okay, even I don't need this print statement, right? So let me remove this. Even I can simply call this function. How I can call? I can just I can just see if, and the braces you have to pass. Whenever you're going to call this particular function, this display function, you have to use the braces. And if the function is expecting you to pass any variables, so you have to pass the value from this braces also. That's what second point is discussing about here. You can see functions can be passed as arguments to a function and return from a function also. Okay, so function can be passed as arguments to function. Means what that does mean, means that if you're writing a function and you can pass another function to this particular function as a argument, and if you want, you can return the any function from a function inside of a function itself. Clear? We will see this all this example into real time execution. First I'll try to understand the concept. Let's say what do I mean by function can be passed as arguments to a function. Let's say in following up I am writing one more function. Let's say diff, and I am saying hello, right? So this diff hello, and I am taking one argument over here. Okay, and this function I can pass. Let's say wherever you are calling this hello function, I want to get this function. This is one of the another argument I am expecting here. This can be my functional argument itself. This can be my function. So in order to use this function, I can directly say if, and I have to use this parenthesis over here. Now when you are going to call hello this function, you have to pass this function. Okay, so it will be working like this way, right? So uh, I have already defined this if display function into if. So if I call hello, if I call hello, I can pass if variable over here. If this variable it is over here, okay, I can directly pass like this way. So it will call when I send if, so that means it will send this particular method name, and here we are actually executing the function. Clear? Let's try to understand it from the programming concept. Okay, so I am taking you to the Colab document, the same document that we were using for our earlier classes. So in this class, in this document, I am creating a function called, let's see, if, and I say display, and I do not want to expect I'm not expecting any parameter, just I am saying a print statement, and I say hello, right? Inside of this I'm just saying a hello, right? So this is one of the my function. Now let's see, I am assigning it to one variable called if, and I'm saying display, right? What I'm saying if is equal to display. This is completely okay. If you want to execute this particular function, let's see, what you have to do, you have to just say if, and then you have to use the parenthesis. Okay, without using parenthesis you won't get the output. Okay, you are saying it is actually returning the function definition, right? So you have to, whenever you are going to use this function, you can get, or you can get the reference by using the variable name, but you have to make sure that you are calling using the parenthesis. Clear? Then only you will be getting the correct output. Now let's see, I'm creating another function called def, and I'm saying the function name is hello, and this function will be expecting two method, let's sorry uh, two variables or two arguments, let's say a comma b and comma f. I'm expecting three variables, two variables, and this is another variable, right? So what I can say, I can, let's say I'm printing if I'm printing the value of a and b, and after that also I am calling this function, calling this function over here. I told you already, whenever you are going to call the function if, you have to use the parenthesis. So we have to use it, right? Let me define it. So this function is defined now. Now if I try to call this function, so what happened? Now let me call this function hello, right? So I'm calling hello, and I'm passing some data. Let's see, 10 and 20. I'm passing data 10 and 20, and here instead of passing display I can pass if, right? Because that is the fun I have designed, I have assigned display method to this particular variable, and now I can pass this reference variable, right? This is what called pass first class variable, right? Now if I execute this class, now you can see I'm getting the output. This first from this print statement I got 10 and 20 got printed, and here as we call if, right? So this also print, this also printing the function whatever we have used over here, right? So for now you can see these names are actually same. I can change the name, right? So let's see, instead of function if, I can say the name is let's say anything, now I can say fun, and I can use over here fun, right? So I can now run this code. You can see we are getting the output, right? So whatever arguments you are passing from here, that is going to be assigned to this particular argument, and that argument is now treating as a functional argument, and it will be calling this function, and this is nothing but calling this function. I hope this concept is clear to everyone. Let us try to understand one more you can say feature, how we can return the function from a function, right? We can return a function. For now we have seen that how we can pass function in as in arguments, but now let's see how we can return the function also, right, from a function. Let us take one more example. Let's say I'm creating a function, and that function is going to create a, you can see, square of a number, right? So let's say I'm going to just, let's say I'm giving a just a greeting, right, hello world or something, right? So let's say I'm creating a function called greet, and inside of this I want to just print uh, let's say I'm passing asking for name also, right? I'm asking for the name, and inside of this function I can create another function if I want. Okay, this is the beauty of Python. So inside of a function you can create another insider function, and that let me create a function called def. Inside of this I can say um def, let's say print, or you can say display. Okay, I'm creating a function, let's say display, and from this function I want to return. Okay, from this function I want to return let's say return, and I want to, what I want to return, I want to return hello with this name. Okay, or you can say welcome, we can say, we can take an if string, and then inside of this I can say welcome and the name of the person, right? This person name I want to um, return, and then after that this insider function will be returning welcome name, and from this greet function we are returning the display. Clear? Let me execute this, and after this we can call this function greet creator. We can call this function greet, right? So I can assign this, let's say I want to assign this particular greet, let's say function if I'm calling saying, and I can say greet, right? I'm passing alias. So um and so what I can do, I can see function greet here double et, and I say, let's say Rohan, right? So I can write this way. Now next time I want to call this, I want to use it, I can say uh, what I can say, I can just say if, and I use this, and I'm getting the output as a welcome Rohan, right? This is the beauty of Java, sorry, this is the beauty of Python. So here I have created function, and this function is having inner method which is nothing but def display, and this display is doing the task that I wanted to do, and I, from this main function I am returning the inner function, right? So now this main function I have assigned to a particular variable called if. Now whenever you are going to use this variable, you can call this variable and you will be getting the output which is returned by this function, right? So you can see we this function is nothing but returning this display function, and this display function is executing this method. This display function is returning this text, and that is what we are printing, getting print over here. I hope this concept is clear to you guys. Now this is actually the what is the functional programming in Python. The remaining topic, the last topic which is pending over here, that the function that can be built at the time of execution, that we will see in our next video, which is nothing but a lambda function, and that is going to be very interesting and which is very useful in Python programming. Okay, so do not skip the next video which will be releasing very soon. Thank you guys, thanks for watching. Thank you, bye bye.